This is a PowerPoint on augmentative and alternative communication, which is highly related to autism, since many people with autism are not as verbal as they would like to, or maybe quite nonverbal. What assistive technologies to use for AAC, which is the abbreviation for augmentative and alternative communication. This comes from a source book created by Washington University. Augmentative and alternative communication is a term used to describe items that are used to help a person communicate when their spoken communication is not effective. There are many items and devices that can be used to help increase or augment a person's ability to communicate. These include pictures, symbols, or printed words. They may simply be printed on pieces of paper or cardboard, or used on a computer or special dedicated device. We categorize augmentative communication devices in the following manner. So the most simple one is a communication board or communication book with pictures and object letters and words. Anyone can create their own. It's really easy to make. And then it gets more and more tech based. So the next higher tech device is eye gaze board or frame. Even more technologically advanced is a cheap talk, which is a simple voice output device that may have some recording options in it. Also, there's a voice output device with different levels, such as GoTalk. It has 2 levels, where each picture could have different messages. There's a voice output device with icon sequencing, such as Vanguard or Chatbox. Voice output device with dynamic display, Dynavox, Pathfinder, and different tablets. And the most technologically advanced is a device with speech synthesis for typing, using software programs such as Write Out Loud with a laptop. So pretty much any computer that has a speech output and a speech software is one of those. Communication, there's a difference between communication, language, and speech. Communication includes both speech and language, and also includes cues such as intonation, pace, emphasis, and nonverbal expressions. Language is the code that is socially shared to express ideas. Our language is communication, and not vice versa. Speech is a type of language that involves the coordination of oral and neuromuscular movement to produce sounds. Speech and language disorders are disorders where people have problems in communication and related areas such as oral motor function. They range from simple sound substitutions to the inability to understand or use language, or use the oral motor mechanisms for functional speech and reading. Some causes of speech and language disorders include hearing loss, neurological disorders, brain injury, mental retardation, drug abuse, physical impairment such as cleft lip or cleft palate, and vocal abuse and misuse. The estimated prevalence is about 1 in 10 people in the United States. That includes speech, language, and hearing disorders. Speech disorders can be divided into articulation disorders, fluency disorders, and voice disorders. Language disorders mean that people have difficulty in understanding and using speech, written word, and any symbol system. They may involve any of the following elements of language: sound, so that covers the area of phonology; structure, constitution of words, that's morphology; structure, order of sentence, that's syntax; content is semantics; function, pragmatics; wordfinding, vocabulary, and also use of language in context. Augmentative and alternative communication is here to help with these issues. Augmentative communication supplements or adds to verbal and nonverbal communication. On the other hand, alternative communication is for people with no verbal and minimal verbal output. So that's to alternate, to provide an alternative when there is no existing language and speech. To simplify it, augmentative communication means that there is some speech. It might be echolalic, it might not be intelligible, it may be very limited. but there is an alternative communication means that there is no speech. Examples of AAC are gestures, writing, facial expressions, eye gaze, head shaking, and drawing. And here are some strategies that you can use to support students to participate in the classroom. You can label all classroom objects. You can provide clear and explicit directions. You can provide visual cues to support auditory information. You can have a visual dictionary, give advance notice on what will be happening, such as having an agenda displayed. You can allow multiple means of expressions. That means not only writing but also typing, for example. You can provide some oral motor activities. Use FM amplification systems. Those are for students with hearing needs. You can provide extended time for tasks and also highlight key terms. Now the following slides will include a lot of no and low tech supports to mid tech to high tech. I'm not gonna spend too much time because there's lots of pictures here on them, so let's just go through them quickly. There's many no support that people and teachers can use that cost you no money, and anyone can have those available. Having visuals, calculators, pencil tips, dry erase board, having number lines, raised paper, having a body to provide notes, providing visual schedules, fidget bowls, highlighter tape, adapted books, reading strips, finger spacer, or Sutix are all these assistive technologies where they do not cost much and they make a difference in a student life with communication issues. Some very conventional communication aids and support our keyboards, and they can be as simple as printed on a piece of paper. It can be adapted keyboard with different keys and large keys, different layouts. Computers that we all use have all kinds of accessibility options. There are typewriters, telephones and faxes, tape recorders, and also things like iPhones and tablets and Blackberries. Some alternative communication methods include pointing. We can point to objects, symbols, picture cards. There's a teaching method called PAX, Picture Exchange Communication System. We can also point to letters on a keyboard or keyboard writing. That's a method called facilitated communication used for. And here's lots of low-tech, augmentative and alternative communication devices. You can see a lot of picture systems. Those are all printed out and laminated. They have little velcros on it, and you can create schedules, put them in rows for simple routines. You can put them in books and order them according to a topic. You can. The number one is a little apron that a child can be wearing with pictures on them and symbols on them. There are some mid-tech AACs. Again, it's a system where you push a button and there's a recording. You can label it with pictures and you record the messages. The best is if the child if another child records it, because it should be the children's voice and not an adult's voice. And this can have several levels of messages. These devices all are picture based and also button based. Under each button there's a recording. It can go typically down to 3 different levels of messages. So for example, you can have a picture of a cat. The level 1 can say cat, the level 2 can say cat, and the level 3 can spell it C-A-T, cat. Just an idea. High-tech devices, these are getting closer and closer to computers. They have voice output, so whatever you type, they say out loud. You can also see it on the screen, and they use all kinds of speech software where, again, you would have different levels and under each icon. So you might have I want, and then you would have icons such as food and activities and break, and under food it would open up another page with lots and lots of images for different foods that kid likes. Here's even more advanced high-tech augmentative and alternative communication devices They cost several $1,000s, and also they might break. So nowadays, what is quite typical is that people use tablets for alternative communication devices. Here is on-screen keyboard that you can use to point. You can also look at it with your eyes and have a mouse that is or a camera that's looking at you, and whatever part of your body you can use can be the mouse that might be set up to click. So if you look at this keyboard, or if you point with your nose or whatever eyebrow and you blink, that's when you are pressing the keys and you might be typing away. And here I just wanted to show you a few very commonly used devices in American schools. This is Cheap Talk or Cheap Talk 8. It holds several messages and it has up to 8 levels. And here is the cost of it, between $100 to $300. Go Talk is another one that's even more sophisticated. You can record speech and it plays it back. It all runs on batteries, and there are some slight overlays for visual stories and schedules. So it comes with ideas already to record. It costs about $2,000. Here's a fun little thing. It's called Talking Photo Album. You can buy it on Walmart or online. It just costs a few $20 to $40, $50, and each page has a recording button where you can record a very short message to each photo. And it's a fun way for a child to bring it to school with, a weekend story or my birthday party and sharing it with friends. LightWriter is a device that is much more costly. It is on one of those high-tech slides. It is a small AAC device that has dual LCD panel, so the reader can see it, and the person who communicates can see the message that is being typed. There is a speech output, and sadly it doesn't automatically state what is typed on it, so it doesn't work as a computer. IntelliKeys is a keyboard that's very light to touch, and it comes with many overlays. It's very good for people with Rett syndrome, for example, who might have a hard time isolating a finger to type, and they might just be pointing with a fist. So you can set up these overlays differently for them, so they would just be using, let's say, multiple choice test questions, or they would be able to type on a keyboard that would have really large letters, what you can fit on this, and it's a pretty large keyboard, what you can fit on it, so they could be typing using their fist, for example. And then all these are softwares that are available for computers or tablets. There's a word prediction software such as CoWriter or Write Assist. There's picture-based writing, what you can see on the picture here. One is called Writing with Symbols, and another one is called PixWriter or Picture It. And very commonly used is BoardMaker, which is a program that looks up all these different icons with words on it, and those are used for all these devices, or for labeling items, or for creating stories, or just to help children who do not have words to put together sentences, and it's all visual. Another great great software is Dasher, that is like floating alphabet. I really encourage you to look it up and learn more about it in your free time. It's a wonderful software program. Here's an example of a PixWriter. As you type, pictures come up, and you can substitute words or pictures for different ones. You can even take pictures, video pictures or real pictures of the real person. Here's another example of Picture It. Again, as you type, it comes with pictures, and Writing with Symbols. As I said, BoardMaker is this program where you create stories and icons that you use in your classrooms. And of course, tablets and smartphones. And I want you to play and look up what you want, look up some communication softwares or writing softwares, and explore as much as you can. Especially Dasher is worth exploring. It's free and it's available online. Enjoy!